Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. We are all about motivation today, and health is a true motivation for us. So James Templeton is in the house. He is the founder of Unikey Health, and you two have done so much work for our world. We're just honored to have you here.
Well, thank you. So it's just wonderful to be here.
Yeah, so nice. So tell us a little bit about Unikey.
Well, Unikey Health is a company that I created 28 years ago. And I created this company because I wanted to get to the root of the health issues that people were dealing with and stop putting Band-Aids on top of everything. I wanted to, find out why people were getting sick, because basically they're getting sick because the body's so much out of balance. And, people are walking time bombs walking around out there, and they're not really taking care of themselves. And I wanted to get to the root, and the universal key to health is what Unikey stands for.
Well, James, that we know that this is triggered by a very personal journey for you.
It was over 33 years ago. I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma, and how this all happened is that my father, my grandfather, and I had a lot of death in my family, I guess you could say, and they all died of heart attacks. And when I got to be in high school, my father died, and it just kind of really floored me. It really made me feel like, what's life worth living for anymore, and I was 18 years old, and I wanted to just go out and live and party, and I didn't really care that much. I went to college, but I didn't really care that much about it, and I started to get into running later on, and I started doing this running because of my father, and I thought, well, maybe I can sidestep this heart disease issue in the family. So I started running a lot, and everybody would go around town, they'd see me running. I was running everywhere, I was working out and running, and everybody thought, this guy's he's in tip-top shape. I mean, if anybody's in shape, it's old James, So I was really into it, and one day I decided I should go get a stress test, because I thought, well, maybe I think I'm in good shape, maybe I'm not in such good shape, let's find out. So I go and I get a stress test, and the doctor says, well, you're in tremendous shape, you broke the record on the treadmill, the stress test that I did. He says, you're in tremendous shape, but he said, there's a mole on your back. He said, that mole looks a little suspicious to me. And he says, if I was you, I would get that checked out, it's probably nothing to it. And I thought to myself, well, I'll go. So 2 or 3 weeks later, I went and had this mole checked out, and the doctor diagnosed it, with stage 4 melanoma. Because what happened is they went in, took a big plug out of my back, and he decided that, being so deep, that it was already stage 4, and chances are it was going to spread. Well, sure enough, it did spread, and a long story short, I ended up in the hospital having major surgery to remove all my lymph nodes, and it was very, very traumatic to me. And I tell you, I thought that my life was going to be over with. And when the doctor came in and gave me the news,
I'm so incredibly grateful that you're here with us to share that story and share light on this, because it's an important conversation when people think there's old James and he's in the tip top of his health.
Yeah.
And you were fighting stage 4 cancer, and you didn't even know.
I didn't even know it. I felt tired a lot, and I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm over 30, and maybe I'm just not as energetic as I used to be. So I'd push myself harder. I thought, well, if I'm out of shape, I just push harder. But yeah, I was fighting it. I was starting to get a lot of flus and colds and sinus problems and all this. So my immune system was shutting down, and I didn't really realize it at the time.
Wow.
So what did you do to turn it around? So once you had the surgery and you had the lymph nodes
Well,
removed.
this is kind of like a miracle happened to me, because here I am, I had this surgery, the doctor comes in, he says, it doesn't look good, the cancer spread, it's in your lymphatic system. And he said, we're going to have to do 80 chemotherapy treatments. He says, and this is going to have to be experimental. And he says, there's not a lot that works for this, but we'll try the experimental. And he says, you only have probably a 20% chance of surviving if you can get through these 80 treatments. So here I am there thinking maybe I didn't have cancer, that, you know, maybe I do, now I have it, it's everywhere, and he's telling me I only have this kind of chance. So I became very desperate, of course. I'm laying there in the hospital bed, recovering from the surgery, and I started to pray. I started to pray, and I never really thought of myself as this religious guy or anything, but I was desperate, and I started to pray, and I felt like every cell in my body was praying. And I've never had that feeling before, and it was very, very unusual to have that kind of feeling. But as soon as I stopped praying, I'm telling you, 20 minutes later, a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in 7 years from college knocks on the hospital door, and he comes in, he's waving this piece of paper, and he's got this article, it's a book review article about a guy that saved himself from cancer by using this diet. And it was a book about this guy, and he was actually an actor, a Hollywood actor, had been in movies back then, and he had this book, and you know, I really related to this article, and I said to him, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm supposed to do. I just kind of knew instantly. And he says, wait a minute, you don't even know what this article says. And I said, I don't have to really know, I'm going to do this. And then I started to read it, and I got very excited, and I knew if this guy could do it, why couldn't I do it?
And now you've put your secrets in this book.
I did. I put my secrets in the book, and I tell everyone exactly what I did then and what I would do if I had to do it over again. Because I've learned a lot over the years, you know, and eventually I just got up and walked out of the hospital, you know, because at 2 in the morning I decided that these chemo treatments that I was doing it all. And I also was doing something, another treatment along with this diet that I eventually started to do, and it was vitamin C, high amounts of vitamin C. And so eventually I walked out of the hospital at 2 in the morning because I knew that if I didn't, I wouldn't be here today to be talking about
So
it.
interesting. And we have, I mean, now science has proven so many spontaneous remissions, and you're a testament for this. And I truly believe that it starts in mind, so it starts in prayer, and then you make the choices that are in alignment with that, and hence the diet, hence all those things. So thank you so much for all your work. You're helping people cleanse, you're helping people understand how to align with everything and de-stress. So how can they find all of your work?
Well, you can find this new book. It's I Used to Have Cancer, and you can go to iusedtohavecancer.com, and there's going to be 3 free downloads if you go there to get the book, and it's going to give you the 5 basic supplements that I really think are important. It's going to give you the diet that you should use every day, and my routine on a daily basis.
Fantastic.
And it helps that you've got a really great partner also,
Yeah.
Oh
right?
yeah, well, she's my not only my
And
nutritionist,
yes.
but my biggest fan. So
Amazing.
she's been wonderful.
Well, we love you guys. Love
Thank you so
Steve
much.
here
Thank you.
Also, so thank you guys. We'll be right back.